Hi guys, just wanted to go over what we did in class today for those that weren't in class. I put together some questions that will better prepare you for the test on Thursday. We have not practiced questions like these in class so far. And so before we test Thursday, I thought it might be nice to look at some so that you're ready. But long story short, we're gonna dive right in. You can pause the video when you need to. Some tables like this one, it's very easy to see the relationship because you have numbers like 8 and 4 where you can see that's half, and 22 and 11. So we know we're dividing by 2. But the issue is that there are several different ways you can show taking our values, which is what's on this side, and dividing by 2. You can literally do that by saying r divided by 2 will give you an answer of a d value. And you can have the answer on the left or you can have the answer on the right. You can also show division with a fraction. R over 2 is still dividing by 2, as you see there. But one thing that we have to remember is that multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Since 2 is equivalent to 2 over 1, the reciprocal of 2 over 1 is 1 over 2. So dividing by 2 is literally the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. So all of these answer choices down here show our values being multiplied by 1/2. So those are all valuable and legit ways of showing the relationship in this table, just like regular division by 2 is as well. The only thing you can't do is you can't switch the order of the division. So, we should be taking our values and dividing by 2. And in these two equations, you see we're taking 2 and dividing by r, which that's not allowed in division. You can do that with multiplication and addition, but you can't do that with division and subtraction. So any of these, except for the ones that I've put in the box and said no to here, any of those could be an equation that represents the relationship in that table. And then sometimes you have much harder tables. And if you look at this table, it's not very easy to see the relationship moving from one side to the other. I gave the students these 4 answer choices that you see here because in a question like this, when you don't know what the relationship is, then you might just steal the number from the answer choices to help you along. So obviously we're using 0.2 in this case. Well, again, we're getting smaller. You can divide to make things smaller. You can subtract to make things smaller. But you can also multiply by a number less than 1. Whenever you multiply by a number less than 1, it gets smaller as well. So obviously 0.2 is less than 1, and this is the only answer choice here that shows taking an r value and multiplying it by less than 1, which is 0.2, which would cause the d value to be smaller on the other side. And so as I zoom out there, you can see I kind of narrowed it down. I took out B and C first because we're not doing any math with a D value. We're doing math with an R value, and that left us with either A or D. And dividing by a number less than 1 is going to give you 15. You can see I just chose $3.60 here, $3.60 to use. So I plug those numbers in. If I take $3 and divide it by 0.2, I'm going to get 15, which is obviously not a match there. But if you take $3 and multiply it by 0.2, you get that 0.6 you're looking for. Again, down there, this is kind of the summary of what we just said about multiplying by something less than 1. So read through that and pause it there if you need to. Another question type that you might see on the test is graphing 2 points. This is a relationship that's adding 6. So you've got a guy named Chris, and it's saying that Chris's total is equal to Ryan's total plus 6. So Chris is always going to earn $6 more because of this equation. And it says graph these exact 2 points. 0, 6, which you see is graphed here, and 2, 8, which is graphed here. Now, we have a new vocabulary word here, the y-intercept. 0, 6 is the y-intercept. That just means where this line will cross the y-axis. That's where it intercepts, right there. So we graph those 2 points, and on the computer, if you graph these 2 points correctly on the day of the test, it should draw that line for you automatically, I believe. And also down below, it says that, if you create a table for this relationship, which we have here, every single one of these values in the table would also be a plotted point on this line. They would follow that line because they share that adding 6 relationship. Next up, we've got more than one answer. You've got a couple of correct answers here. 2 of these are going to be false. The rest are going to be true. The way that I had people solve this is I said, look at the table, find the relationship in the table. It's easy to see that you're dividing by 6. Every spot in the table, you're dividing by 6. So then I'm going to go look at once again, the easiest numbers to work with in this table are 60 and 10 because they're nice, friendly numbers. So everywhere that I see X, I'm going to replace it with 60, and everywhere I see Y, I'm going to replace it with 10, and then see what's true. So if this is 10 and this is 60, I'm now going to see if this is a true statement. The value of 10 is 1/6 the value of 60. Well, of course it is, because it takes 6 10s to make 60. So one chunk of 10 is 1 out of the 6 10s that it takes to make 60. So that's true. X, 60. So 60 is 6 times 10. Obviously true. The value of Y, 10, is the value of X, 60, if you divide it by 6. Of course, 60 divided by 6 is 10. Also true. The value of Y, 10, is 6 times the value of X, 60. Well, no, because 6 times 60 is not 10. So there's your first false statement. And then the value of X, 60, is 6 more than the value of Y, 10. I don't think so, because 6 more than 10 would be 16, not 60. So our second false statement. So students on this question, just practicing taking the most friendly numbers in the table and plugging them into these descriptions, and then looking for true or false. The last section here is a couple of tables. Table 1 is showing a multiplication relationship of multiplying by 2.5. And table 2 is showing an addition relationship of adding 3. And so you can see here 1 times 2.5 is 2.5, 2 times 2.5 is 5, 3 times 2.5 is 7.5, and so on. And so we've labeled these graphs and plotted these points, both for the multiplication and also for the addition, adding 3 every time as we move to the other side, and plotted those points. The key here is that it's asking you where it crosses the y-axis. Again, y-axis is the one moving up and down. So where does that line that's created by these points cross the y-axis? Well, in this one, it crosses at the origin. It crosses at 0, 0, where x is 0 and y is 0. So here are the options for what you could type in here. This will be a not fill in the blank, but this will be something you type by hand on the test on Thursday. And here it doesn't cross the y-axis at 0, 0. It crosses at 0, 3. And so these are the only options that you could type in there to get that correct. So just a few questions in a style that we haven't quite seen or worked on yet. And hopefully this will help you be more prepared for those when you see them on Thursday. Thanks for watching.